Register for our blog and join the Progressive Army.
Those are the voices of the unheard. Those are the sounds of the unheard. The shattered window, the broken glass, overlaid by the sounds of the retaliation of the police forces, using rubber bullets to inflict even more harm on top of the damage that they have already inflicted. That is the sound of Minneapolis responding to the murder of George Floyd at the hands of 4 police officers, including Derek Chauvin. This is what happens when the people who have been given authority over us refuse to acknowledge the humanity and the dignity over the people. And the people have the right to respond and let these. We have every right to let those in authority understand that they cannot abuse their power over us. And for too long and in too many instances, in every single city across this country, in every single year of this country's existence, the police state has been abusive and oppressive to Black people. Even now as I speak, I can't help but to think about the disparate treatment of Black people in the city of New York underneath the leadership of 2 Democrats, the New York City Mayor, Bill de Blasio, Andrew Cuomo, the Democratic governor, both of whom, look at what happens in New York. When Black people fail to social distance, the police come in like the Gestapo and crack down and abuse and brutalize and beat Black people into submission. On the other side of town, white people who do not social distance get the red glove, the white glove, red velvet treatment. This has happened in our country throughout the existence of our country, and it is only a matter of time before the people who are oppressed turn on the people who are in authority. So I'm sorry, I have no criticisms for how the people in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, choose to express their anger. It was only a matter of time before this happened. And all these people who are so aggrieved because a Target was looted shows us that you have more concern for material goods than you do human life, and therein lies the problem. You have never listened to the cries of the oppressed when they are civil. And because you would not listen to our civility, you will see our civil unrest.
I think we've got to see that a riot is the language of the unheard. And what is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear that the economic plight of the Negro poor has worsened over the last few years.
The problem is that you have been more concerned about material goods and material wealth than you have been about human life. You have had zero regard for the lives that have been taken, including a personal friend of mine, Corey Jones, the lives of friends, real people with real families. This is the international problem as well. You have zero regard for the people on whom you drop bombs. You don't see them as human. You see them as nothing more than collateral damage in your plight to get economic and political power. And that same attitude that you have abroad is clearly being seen at home. You have no regard. You care more about a Target superstore than you do the lives of Black people who have been brutally killed by the policing agencies in this country. Shame on you, America. And now you're all concerned because these have evolved into riots. And I'm saying evolved because it's finally time for us to realize that we cannot play by the rules of the ruling elite. The rules of the ruling elite are never meant to empower us. They are meant to control us. We cannot get the victories that we need playing by their rules because they have never intended to deal in good faith with us in the first place. No matter how many things you do correctly, no matter how much you play their game by their rules, they never intended for you to be able to get full liberation. And so if the ruling elite and their paid propagandists want to shed tears this morning because some buildings are burning and because some police cars are broken and some glass has been shattered and some stores have been looted, well, that's just too goddamn bad because you said nothing. In fact, you caused the harm in our communities. You plundered our communities. You extracted all the wealth from our communities and left us destitute and in despair. You profited off of our pain and our despair. So spare us your tears this morning as your temples of capitalism come crumbling down. We've been terrified in this country for far too long. It's about time you shared some of that fear. Listen to this clip from one of the mouthpieces, one of the leading propagandists for the ruling elite, trying to make everyone so concerned because the people have arisen.
So that's what rioting looks like. It happened last night. As you can see, it's happening right now. We want to be clear, we're not showing you these pictures to defend the behavior of individuals on the Minneapolis Police Department. We're not. We're defending society itself. Rioting is the one thing you don't want. Ugly opinions, police brutality, officious bird watchers, rude entitled ladies walking their dogs in big city parks, all of that is bad. But none of it is nearly as bad as what you just saw. The indiscriminate use of violence by mobs is a threat to every American of all colors and backgrounds and political beliefs. Democracy cannot exist when people are rioting. Rioting is a form of tyranny. The strong and the violent oppress the weak and the unarmed. It is oppression.
Did you hear this propagandist compare rioting to police brutality? Saying police brutality is bad, but rioting is worse. I need people to understand something. The people aren't rioting. As someone said on Twitter, the police rioted. The people are not criminals. The police are criminals. The people are merely responding to the abuse of power that has been wielded over black people for far too long throughout the entire existence of this country. Name me a year. Name me a year when there was not some measure of systemic oppression led by the policing agencies in this country. You cannot do it. And so if you just casually say that police brutality is bad, well, that's because you're a person who is the beneficiary of it and you have never had to experience it. You have not lost a friend, a loved one, a father, a mother, a brother to police brutality. So how dare you tell us in your pompous, arrogant, bourgeois, cosmopolitan looking ass, tell us that police brutality is bad, but rioting is worse. Real oppression and real tyranny is when the people who have the authority to kill you wield it cavalierly without any regard for your life, without any regard for your voice, without any regard for your rights or your liberties. That is oppression. And that is quite literally what we, the people, have the right to rebel against them. Don't believe me? Watch. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and the nature's God entitle them. And decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impelled them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women and non-gender conforming individuals are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form. In other words, we have the right to rebel against any oppressive government by virtue of the very document that formed this government. And if you will not hear the civil cries of the people, then you most certainly will be the recipient of the uprising of the people.
Hi, Benjamin. My name is Salima, and I'm from New York. And one of the things on my mind today is this idea of civility. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to curse on your show, but I don't give a shit about civility anymore. And I think that civility is something that is used to really silence people, people who want revolution and, they want things to change, but they want it done in a peaceful way. I don't know that we can do this in a peaceful way anyway. And watching the Minneapolis riots, it actually makes me feel like, you know what, people are hurting. And this is finally people are able to use their voice, and then people are saying, stop the looting, stop the rioting, stop. You know what? People are angry, so this is how I'm feeling. Fuck civility. Fuck that idea. And, it's time to speak truth to power and to speak up and express how we really feel. Fuck what you heard.
Hello, this is Ryan Green from San Bernardino, California. And I wanted to make a statement today kind of about how we need to focus this back towards the police state. There's so many times where there's these riots and they're used by politicians later on to get something from the public to either buy into their sympathies or to remember people that law and order is only justified for the police. They use law and order to keep people in their place. Kamala Harris famously did this in California when the Baltimore riots were going on. She tried to use the 23rd anniversary of the LA riots to convince people that police were actually doing a better job now, and that they had some kind of control on their communities, when in fact, we had seen the largest militarization of police, in those last 23 years than we ever had before. And it's just very scary, and we need to remember the cops are not our allies, and those politicians that use the police as some kind of guiding light for society need to be called out when they do that. Thank you so much.
Good morning. This is Marcus from Durham, North Carolina. My feelings on the recent incidents in Minnesota is that it's not surprising, because when you look at structure and actually question the reason why people are losing, you come to find out the resulting factor, and the answer is because of the environment and the interesting ways in which structure plays a place into people's lives. I think it's very important that we keep a laser-like focus on social policy and the reason for people doing things, not necessarily, they're doing things and it's harmful and they're looting, right? And so this whole focus on looting, in my mind, is almost a connection back to the inextricably linked the ways that capitalism is in our life. People are more focused on things that can be replaced instead of the reason why, which in this case was somebody being killed at the hands of the constabulary. And so instead of focus on that, we're more concerned about the looting, they're blowing banks and things. Those things have insurance, and those things can be replaced. But we also should remember that lives can't. Thank you. Great day.
Yeah. Lives cannot be replaced. Lives, the most precious thing that we have is our life. And I know that's obvious, but it's not obvious to a nation that indiscriminately drops bombs globally without any regard for human life. The number one problem is the fact that we are led by sociopaths. We are led by people who have no qualm about killing thousands and millions of people across this globe. So what do you think they're going to feel if a police officer kills 1 or 2 or 3 niggas? Do you think they actually care about that when throughout the history of this country, we have built our prosperity on the backs of the people through mass genocide, through slavery, through oppression, through Jim Crow, through dropping bombs indiscriminately across the globe? You think they actually care about the humanity of the people that they have to crush at home to get their political ends achieved? America talks about peace, but when has America ever achieved anything it wanted through peace?
You don't get freedom peacefully. Freedom is never safeguarded peacefully. Anyone who is depriving you of freedom isn't deserving of a peaceful approach by the ones who are being deprived of their freedom. And when black people in this country come out from under the mental straitjacket that the Negro clergymen have placed them in, and begin to see that the only way you can get freedom is to get it the same way the white man in this country got it from England, or he says he got it from England. He was willing to pay the price for freedom. When you're willing to pay the price for freedom, then you'll get it. But the Negro in this country has never been willing to pay the price for his freedom. All of the price that we have been paying in the past has been freedom for the white man. We fought abroad so that the white man in America could be free today to sick police dogs on us, to beat our people in the heads with police clubs, and to turn water hose on little women and children and babies simply because they want to walk down the street like decent human beings. That's now the only way you can have peace is to eliminate those injustices, and the American white man is not going to eliminate them. He's going to talk that pretty talk.
They will talk. America talks that pretty talk and then drops bombs as soon as they can't get their economic ends achieved in another nation. What we have to get in this country will not be achieved by playing by the rules established by the ruling elite, because they have an advantage, they have a head start, and they never want to give us the opportunity to catch up. That is America. All right, when we come back, the patron party and a lot more of your voicemails.
Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support the Benjamin Dixon
Here we
Show.
go. At this point in every single episode, no matter what's going on in the world, I like to take a minute to thank those who make this show possible. Very special welcome to Michael Cohen. Thank you for becoming a patron. Kendall Beverly, thank you for becoming a patron. Hunter, thank you for becoming a patron. Mark Fritz, thank you for becoming a patron. Oh, everybody bop. Very special welcome to Chanel Webb. Thank you for becoming a patron. Trey Duncan. Ezeum, thank you for becoming a patron. Coulter, thank you for becoming a patron. Soldier 182, thank you. Ted, thank you. Malcolm Berry, thank you. Maurice Hayden, thank you. Heather Martin, thank you. And Evan, thank you for becoming a patron. You too can become a part of this prestigious and prodigious patron family by going to patreon.com/The BPD Show, where you get twice the content, uncut, unfiltered, unedited interviews, and none of the corporate capitalistic advertisements like you have to suffer through right here.
Welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Yeah.
Visit us online at www.thebenjamindixonshow.com.
Let's go. All right. Let's get back. I want you to listen to this clip of the brother of George Floyd. He was on with Cuomo on CNN. I forget, Chris Cuomo on CNN. Take a listen into this.
Did any of the cops, did you hear them talking to each other about why they couldn't just move him and get him out of the situation?
Bro, they wanted to kill that man, bro. Like, I'm gonna be 100, bro. They didn't speak. They didn't say nothing. The views in his eyes, bro. The man that had his knee on his chest, bro. He knew what he was doing. His shimmies in my man's neck, bro. He knew what he was doing. It's just like having a jiu-jitsu choke. If I'm here, I'm shimmying, boom, my choke's on there. I told him it was a blood choke. He knew it was a blood choke. He looked at me when I said it. He put his head down. He did not make any more gestures. He did not say any other thing. And the two other cowards that was on the other side of the car, I didn't know nothing about. I didn't know about until I got videos in my social media and things like that. So they was intent to smother my man and kill my man. And I seen it. I seen it in his eyes. I seen it in his demeanor, and I seen it in their movement. And Officer Tao didn't partake in it, but he had control of what was going on the other side of that car for me not to see what was going on. Because the people that know me personally, the most control they ever seen in my life, as I'm seeing another man that looked like me, that feels like me, that got the same complexion as me, lose his life to another man that had no senseless. He had no feeling. He had no remorse. He had in him. He had no feeling. I don't even think he had a heart at that moment. And he's going to feel that for the rest of his life. Just like I'm going to hear my man say this. I can't breathe. I want my mama. And I'm coming to find out that this man who died 2 years on the day that his mom died, I'm a mama's boy, bro. It's like that hurts me deep down inside, bro. and like something needs to be done, or something needs to be done.
Hi, my name is Gabriel. I live in New York. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I just wanted to say I completely support the protests going on. I say loot the hell out of that place. Don't get caught. Protect your brothers and sisters. Live to protest another day. You know, do what you can. Get what you can. Say what you can. Stay safe, because they're not going to be nice to the people they're taking down now. Good luck.
This is Melissa from Atlanta. What am I feeling? This needs to stop. Every week, cops are killing Black men and women, and nobody bats an eyelash. It's just become normalized in our society. So I am glad that finally we get to show our rage, and I am proud of every single person out there that is rioting. And when people bring up the looting, who cares? Target, a multi-billion-dollar corporation, who cares? I hope they continue to destroy all these giant corporations that need to be robbed. Like, eat the rich. Sorry, no pity here.
Hi, my name is Julian. I'm from San Jose, California. I just had a few thoughts about the huge media thing that's been going on about the looting situation happening in Minnesota. The fact that media wants to focus so much more on the looting instead of the fact that a Black man named George Floyd was killed by a police officer for no reason. But I also think that the idea that looting is violent, and the fact that people going into these stores and stealing objects, property that are in a stockpile in the middle of the store, that's violent. And to quote some people that I've been seeing, which I don't agree with, savage, to make people look less than for doing this, particularly Black people. But I want to go into something that Vicky Osterweel said in an article she wrote for the New Inquiry, something about how looting is extremely dangerous to rich people and like white supremacy, because it kind of shows that private property it's just an idea, and being able to take back that territory and plunder these like huge stockpiles of capitalist material is very political and revealing about how our society functions. But yeah, I would also say that that's a great article to show anybody, Vicky Osterweel's article in the New Inquiry. I think it's called In Defense of Looting. She makes a really great case of how looting is very political. And I would really recommend reading it.
Pretty white TT, pretty white TT, pretty white TT, pretty white TT, pretty white TT.
So I say it again, fuck you racist white people. I said what I said, and if you don't fucking like it, go suck a dick. Seriously.
And that was the voice of the actor John Boyega, I believe. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Somebody tell me if that's correct. But Boyega, he is the Black man who made everyone, a lot of Star Wars fans infuriated because he was a Black stormtrooper and whatever the case may be. But he's had enough across the pond. Something about profanity with that British accent that just it's amazing. It's just, there's no better way to cuss without than to have a British accent. But not all Black people are on board with what's going on. Take a listen to Coontastic Supremette Candace Owens as she feels it necessary to refer to Black people as trained chimpanzees.
They didn't pretend that somehow having a broken language, having broken down families was a symbol of who we are. And that is so unique to Black America. I won't subscribe to it. If that people say that's how you have to be Black, That's how you have to be black. Listen to your psychological conditioning. If to be black, you can't speak in proper English or you're acting white, right? To be black, you instantly have to jump up like a fucking trained chimpanzee, excuse my language, like a trained chimpanzee every single time the media runs a story and act angry and riot and talk about how pained you were to see this happening to black people, but keep your mouth shut, right? When it happens black on black, because if you talk about the black on black crime, you're a race traitor, right? To be black, you need to celebrate LeBron James. You got to say that you want to be a football star, right? LeBron James, the greatest, right? When you see someone like Dr. Ben Carson, Dr. Condoleezza Rice, you call that person a coon because they betrayed you. You want to know why? Because they're talking about economics. They've graduated and they've got tons of degrees. They're not being black enough. Don't listen to them. Listen to LeBron James when he throws in a Beto cap.
I'm laughing because every time she says train chimpanzees, I keep thinking that she needs to train them edges. She is the most self-hating, self-loathing black person on the face of the planet. She is the black white supremacist. And she's right. We do refer to her as a coon, and she will forever be known as a coon because she is a servant of white supremacy. All she does is collect checks on behalf of saying all of the racist things that her white colleagues and her white friends and her white boyfriend, fiance, or whatever he is, wants to say, but they can't get away with. So they hired her. They outsourced their racism through Candace Owens. And when they are all done with her, they're going to throw her away, just like they do everyone else, no matter what race. Once capitalism and corporatists and racists are done with you, this white supremacist structure in this country is done with you, it will cast you to the side. And there's no way in hell she's going to come back and get some love from black folks. And who's going to support her then? Because it's only a matter of time before she goes one step too far for conservatives. Right? She has to ever escalate her racism to get the attention and to get the paychecks. But after a while, even the Klan is going to be like, oh, hold on down there, Candace. I mean, I'm as much a racist as the next person, but nigger, you done gone too far. Take a step back there. And then what's she going to do? Oh, man. When this heifer runs into some real police brutality, does she work? She doesn't like Black Lives Matter. Don't worry, honey. When the police bash you across your head and remind you that you just another nigga in this country, you don't ever have to worry about us coming to march on your behalf because you is one black life that doesn't matter to us any more than our lives apparently mean to you, sister. All right. So that is going to be it. If you're listening live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you're listening to the live stream at, that's it for the public show. If you want the whole hour and you're listening to the podcast version, stay tuned. Everybody, I have so many more voicemails, so much more commentary. So there's a whole nother half hour coming up after this. Everyone else, if you're listening on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, go to Spreaker.com, look for my show, or go to iTunes, go to listen to my show, go to iHeartRadio. You can listen to the show. You can listen to the show on what's that? The Spotify. The show is on Spotify. Wherever you go for podcasts, go and download the show. And while you're there, whatever platform you're on, do me a favor. Even if you can't become a patron, leave a comment, leave a review. Leave a review of the show. That will help out tremendously. If you like it or even if you hate it, leave a review. But that's it for the public show. Everyone else listening to a podcast version, you get the patron treatment today. The show continues after the music because there's so many more voicemails. I want to make sure that you get to hear every single one of them. And I've got a lot more on my chest that I got to get off of it. Thank you for being a beautiful audience. Everyone else, I will see you tomorrow. Here we go.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.